Okay, we have Koss and Cyrus from Carbonno here.
Yeah, so Dave and Nick couldn't be here. They're in California. It's kind of far. So this is the core team here. We have a few more people working with us. So what is Carbonno? Carbonno is a decentralized exchange and marketplace for carbon credits and carbon offsets. What is a carbon offset? What is a carbon credit? I think I should give an intro, but the whole idea with Carbonno is that you can, it's a place where you can make new carbon credits by providing proof to your project. That could be an energy efficiency project, it could be other types of projects that we talk about in a little bit. And it's a place where you can trade, buy, or even invest into carbon efficiency and carbon offsetting projects. So we try to be basically the gold standard for exchanging carbon credits and investing, because right now it's really difficult to buy and trade them. So how do you go back? So the whole idea is like there's demand for carbon offset is increasing. There are regulations in place, and we know that by 2030, 2050, we gotta go carbon neutral or even carbon negative in some cases.
Can you explain what carbon neutral versus carbon?
I would get into that. So I was about to talk about carbon offset, so that's a good question. So what is a carbon offset? So being carbon neutral means that as a firm or a corporation, you produce less carbon that you actually use. So the idea here is that if, for example, you're being regulated by the government, or as an individual, you want to cover your carbon emissions, and you're not able to reach your carbon emission goals, you can buy something like a carbon credit, which is like a voucher. That's basically corresponding to carbon being removed from the atmosphere. There's all these projects like reforestation projects. There's solar panels being planted, or wind turbines, or there's even projects that actually capture carbon from the atmosphere and they bury it into the ground. So all these projects basically create what is called a carbon offset or carbon credit, and someone that wants to offset their carbon production, like me or you, because we travel or something, we can go out there and buy this carbon credit voucher, and let's say we contribute to something positive and offsetting our carbon production. So there's two types of market. There's the voluntary markets, which is what I was basically talking about. I'm not being regulated, so I can go out there and buy carbon credits because I want to do something nice for the environment, let's say. I want to be able to say that this trip I just took to California is like being offset by doing something good, like investing into a reforestation project. And then there's projects like then there's the compliance markets that basically are being regulated, and most of them are based on the Kyoto Accord. And basically, let's say each country receives a portion of the market and regulates different companies and has, let's say, a cap of how much carbon dioxide you are allowed to produce into the atmosphere. So you can reach your goals, you can go out there and invest into one of those projects by buying a carbon credit. So there's a lot of problems with there's a lot of problems with this the current situation, but
Actually validating that they're doing these projects, they're accounting for this properly, and they're not lying about
exactly. There's a lot of problems. So the whole market is really unregulated, even though, especially the voluntary markets. It's a mess, honestly. We try to go out there and buy carbon credits and see like how does a carbon credit look like. get back when you actually buy one? Can you see that you actually invested into a reforestation project and see we actually planted the trees? And that's not possible right now. Trees are really hard to monitor. It's really hard to see that the actual forest that you're supposed to be investing into is there, or
Well, they're taking care of the trees. It's one thing to plant the trees, now you
Yeah.
plant the tree, you're actually gonna really sure what's going on there.
they tell you that they plant the trees, and let's say you invest into a specific type of tree that is supposed to absorb a specific amount of carbon credit, carbon dioxide, but you're not sure if this is happening. So on the other hand, there's all these different entities here that basically make the whole situation even more complicated. What we're trying to do here is that, before I get to the other, I wanted to show you how the whole carbon space is expected to grow in the next few years. And I have some examples here of reputable sources talking about the demand for carbon and how it's been increasing. But going back to your question, it's a whole mess out there. So we try to bring everything together under a single roof. Let's say being able to verify your project if you're someone that is planting forest, let's say. Being able to verify your projects and go through the whole steps without doing this yourself.
Verify all the laws.
So what we're trying to do is find a way to measure exactly how much carbon dioxide you're saving by investing into one of our projects. So this is really hard to do, especially with trees and other projects. So our initial idea was to start with energy efficiency upgrades, like building upgrades. The whole idea with buildings is that there's these companies out there that promise to reduce your energy consumption by a certain amount by replacing your LEDs, let's say, or your AC systems. By doing so, you're able to know exactly how much less power you're using. So we use this as a metric in order to calculate how much carbon dioxide you basically not producing by using less power. This is an example of what we're trying to do. This is something verifiable. It means that we're able to see exactly how much less carbon is being used, and the idea is that we link this as an NFT on the blockchain. Each ton of carbon dioxide saved is meant as one carbon credit on the blockchain, and you can trace it back to the source, because with trees, for example, it's really hard to see where the tree is. Is the tree alive right now, or is it burned, or is it someone like cut down the tree? With our approach, you're able to see exactly the building, see how much power the building is saving per month, and see how much more, for example, we can save in the future if we invest into a specific project. We have other ideas in our minds, like being able to invest into other projects. We offer the NFTs, which basically correspond to one carbon credit, which is 1 ton of carbon dioxide removed from the atmosphere. But we also have our own token. This token is more like an incentive token. Anyone that is basically able to prove to us that they use their energy or they do something to let's say, reduce their carbon footprint, are able to join our platform and start minting this incentive coins. And the whole idea is that this incentive token is also backed by carbon. So it's more like, it's not a stable coin because the price might fluctuate, but it's still backed by something, which is something, an actual asset. It's a physical asset. Yeah, I think, and of course, how we do this is that we follow this a really popular protocol used by energy efficiency upgrades to begin with. It's called the ICP. And this protocol is basically giving us all the guidelines that we need steps together and simplify this complicated process. I think, yeah, go on.
I do have another question for you. There's a lot of greenwashing in this space. There's a lot of people pretending to do environmental projects. How do you combat that? How do you actually make sure that the work you're doing is actually impactful and you don't have to fake projects trying to validate what you do?
So, as Koss briefly mentioned about the way we do the AMT stuff, and then also he introduced the CIP, ICP protocols, which is a really standard industrial protocols that it's in a high general level, and then we have these collaborators, partners, they already have this business in the practical user case that we follow all the protocols, and then the data comes to with all the utilities, and then I will show you later how we get all this data, and then we put them into the blockchain, and then the way you can get access that is by owning the NFT, so that will be presented in all those metadata, and then they will be locked down once it's minted, and then after that, there's no way you can change that. Yes. So basically, once you contribute or you mint it, and everything is over there, and then after that, and then you won't be able to make any mutation or change what's already happened.
Or greenwashing. So what it's hard for you to hear at the event or our online community to get involved in what you're doing and help you expand and grow?
Cool. I will get into that, and then I will show you where are we now, so you will get ideas that how can you contribute or get involved with our ecosystem. So here, well, we started, we already have our website, but to be honest, the website is still in the early stage that we work on the WordPress. But we have some new design, and then we are migrating to more DL-friendly framework, completely full stack. And then, as we already mentioned, that we have this Carbonno NFT. So we already minted the first connection of Carbonno NFT, and which in my son's since for now we do see a lot of Cardano NFTs that in our Cardano ecosystem, but we want to distinguish that we are focusing on the utility side instead of art driving. And then this metadata it actually takes a lot of work because it comes from the real energy efficiency project. So I will show you later. And then, so this part, what we have achieved, they already is on GPT Store verified, and then you can purchase on our website and also goes to the GPT Store. And on the other side, we are working on our own single staking pool to support the decentralization of our community. And with that, we will design this SPO to give the initial supporters as you can involved. And then also there will be carbon token generate events. And so now let's talk about the NFT here. How we actually doing that. And then as Koss mentioned that we start with this energy efficiency upgrade and following these ICP protocols. And we do a lot of investigation for each project that you do the upgrade, and then we measure in 1 year like how much energy your consume via in these reward buildings, and then you have all these lightning systems, and then after you upgrade, and then 1 year how compared to previous how much energy you save now. So we will be able to have all these procedures performed by our partner, Everard, who is also two of our founders, and then they already have this verified, and then converted to our data. Then we clean up here, as you see, and we end up with this NFT with a different format. And then I hope you can see here, as the metadata, one of the attributes, you will see how much carbon offset you own when you purchase this NFT, and also where's the building coming from, and then when was the data was inspected, the time stamp, and what type of building. You can have all this information on chain. So there's no way that if you're selling this and then nobody going to questioning you that this is going to be fake because this all already verified. And then also when we do this core research and then we pulling down all this metadata, and we do want to keep as much transparency as possible, but we do also have these privacy issues that we need to figure out the line between the transparency and the privacy, because for some entities or the building owners, they might, for some more information, they might don't want to be on chain. So this is a partner's answers that we are seeking to. And for here, and then as we want to mention that the whole economic dynamics, we started with this NFT, but we do not actually focus on art. Although arts are fun, that's why people are using NFT, right? And then they are collectible and memorable, and then we are open to this art design, but more often we have these utilities in the real world that if you want to offset your trip or as an organization, and then if you want to offset your carbon production by law, you can come to our Carbonno hub to buy NFTs to offset your carbon offset. So this comes to our utilities. And then at the same time, you buy those NFTs, you are indirectly invested in this energy upgrade project. Like upgrade the lightning, it takes money, and then you need to replace all the lightning systems. And then you can get involved with these incentives and to upgrade and not just energy efficiency, maybe in the future we will do more like a green energy and all that we can measure in hot data. Yes, actually, sadly we don't have any artists in our team. So
an artist out there. We have a friend who's an artist, and
Yeah.
he's watching who's an artist. And he's an artist maybe to.
Thank you. Yeah, especially for our energy efficiency, like buildings, if you are interested in architectures, actually you can have more space to design all different type of architectures. We can use as our NFTs, and then more likely you will have more fun ways to get engaged with our project.
That'd be really cool. Yeah. So just putting that out there for anyone if you want to get involved with the project.
Yeah, so, but the most important, of course, we want to have a good impact to the society and the Earth, our only one planet Earth. And so here I want to bring everything together to see how are we going to develop a healthy circles recycling systems. So we already saw certainly, I know people in general see the NFTs, water pools, and then we don't want to see that happen to us. Like we design these NFTs, and then we have these utilities to centralize the institutions and individuals to get involved. And with that, in the future, we also intend to design these staking mechanisms. So give you an opportunity to have your reward by holding your NFTs. So then this comes to our carbon token. And then the carbon token, as Koss introduced earlier, is every token you will generate by this carbon reduction. And then also at the same time amount, and then you will be able to meet them more formats that goes back to our carbon market. So then when it comes to, this is a small research questions that you probably don't notice yet, but in the future we will face these problems that as these NFTs, when you use or consume these NFTs, so you won't be able to consume again. It's like you remove one part of the carbon offset, and then you want to offset one time, you need to another new carbon NFTs. But currently, we do have these protocols, CIP proposals in our Carbonno system. Is more technical or research-oriented part, like in the terms of smart contract, smart NFTs. So we do have these ideas that looking further, and in the future, we might be getting involved with these NFTs. Once you hold it and then you consume, we will be able to change them back a normal NFT that as a souvenir for you. And so with that, and you will be able to get involved with the carbon tokens, and then with these utilities, you will be able to use as a currency in our carbon market and then buy in carbon credit, NFTs, and also we will try to make more other opportunities to get involved with other NFT communities like the raffles, NFTs. If you know about the biggest one, the Ape Society, they already have these smart contract-based utilities to use their tokens. So this is another way you can have fun with our carbon market. So all we think about this cycle is giving up the values and giving back to the society, and hope it can circulate in a healthy way. And our final goal is to sensitize individuals and organizations to get involved and to protect our planet Earth. And I think we took too much time, so I will just get quicker with this. Okay, I'll try to speed up. I don't want to take up the other time. So this is basically we are planning now. It's pretty much more corporate grant, so it's not too much details as there are many subject to change in the future. And currently we are already at the first connection of NFT online, and then we are starting operating our own staking pool. And in the future, there will be new website, and there will be new the app, and then also after that, we are going to move to mobile sales. And also, we will introduce more energy efficiency projects, and maybe not just the Lightning and all the other collaborations. So we do have to mention these partners that they will be able to preload the companies offsets into our market. And in the end, if you are curious or you want to support, it's not a marketing tool. So you can buy the carbon credits NFT on TBG store, or you can purchase on our website or send AIDA to our official Carbonno wallet. And these, I got to be honest with you that for now we develop everything ourselves, so we are not using the third agent meeting service. So you send this, that means it will maybe take some time to process your NFT meeting, but it will be in your wallet. So this is our social medias if you want to connect with us. Now, if you have more questions, we are open to take more questions.
Any questions out of the audience? Carbonno? Saw you first, then I'll just go to you.
Is it possible to fractionalize your NFT to less?
Yeah. So I understand that this is kind of expensive, right? So a single carbon credit, which corresponds to 1 metric ton of CO2 removed, is a lot of carbon. It costs about $250 at the company. So right now we don't support fractional carbon credits. This is part of our roadmap, but people that are interested can buy our carbon token, which is basically backed by carbon as well. So as Cyrus mentioned, we have two things going on. We have the carbon, the actual NFT, and we have the carbon token, which is the incentive that is produced, minted while project is reducing their consumption. So this is acts as let's say a fractional carbon for now, but in the future we'll be able to support actual fractionalized carbon credits.
Doing the in-house fractionalizer, service, outside service there.
Yeah, we're trying to do this in-house.
Yeah, so you mentioned obviously how it's reducing carbon, and this is about utility, so like, you turn the lights off. What if you're in-house just
So yeah, there needs to be a way to prove that, let's say, using a dirty source of energy, and in order to prove that, we have to be able to. We work with utilities and each other entities to be able to verify that your project is actually offsetting and reducing the carbon reduction. Because as you said, yeah, solar is not something we can do right now, but there's other ways we can work with this. There's smart ways where we can, let's say, calculate reduction there, or be able to prove that. It's a little complicated, so to be honest, yeah, to be honest.
But it needs some research and also on matter of the schedules. And then what we currently can do is we have these ICP protocols, and then we have all these following very strict steps. As you see in the NFT metadata, we have this period review, and then we have technical reviewers. So these are very strict follow-ons to get your data verified through each utilities. I mean, in general, as human, you can always find a loophole. What we can do is try to make these things verifiable and then more objective, and then maybe in the future we could design those smart devices to get automatically record all what you spend. So yeah.
Just to say something, I mean, there are ways to for people to take advantage of this, but we're trying to minimize the risk. Let's say. Yeah. I can hear.
Hey.
So you guys were talking about your carbon credits, and I know you guys were with the retail of Zeta with respect to this cross-country trip. And I just wanted to get your perspective on like that application. What did you guys do? How did it work out?
What? So what is the question?
How did it work with Zeta to offset its carbon credit?
Oh yeah. So basically, Fabricio was driving to Cineficon in Vegas. So he started from New York. He drove all the way there, and then he drove to a couple more places, and then came back. So the idea was that he wanted to offset his entire trip. So we did that through. We basically calculated the amount of carbon dioxide that his whole trip to produce to get there. We basically offset it with carbon credits, and now Fabricio can go out to his friends and prove that he cares about the environment. Yeah.
Another thing is like this is a more personal, but another user case that more in the global organization level, like when you are doing your the business owner, it's more compliance to your local laws. Like if you doing this business and then you generate Apple, they actually every year they purchase a lot of carbon credit in the market. offset what you produce for the environment.
I believe Fabrice is creating an NFT project now, and he drove up through all those states using his trip, and he's about to mint those as as NFTs. So for each state that you pass through, there's maybe one NFT, and this is backed by the carbon offset that we work together to produce. So yeah, I think that's cool.
Cool. Any last words before we go?
Well, thanks for listening. Check out the website.